Hello, my name is Shannon Bender. I'm the landfill supervisor at Waste Management's Columbia Ridge Landfill in Arlington, Oregon. Welcome to Waste Management's Columbia Ridge Landfill rail yard. These 3/4-mile sections of track are where we receive and process trains coming in from the Seattle metro area. This video introduces you to the rules developed for your safety when working in the rail yard. There are 6 rail spurs. Spurs 1 through 4 are for unloading and loading containers from well cars stacked and connected with ISO twist locks. Spurs 5 and 6 are dedicated to unloading gondola cars containing waste soil and other material. An excavator unloads these cars and then loads the content into side dump trucks, which are then sent to the landfill for depositing. This training will highlight some of the rules that apply to waste management employees and third-party contractors who are going to be operating within the rail yard. As with almost everything we do, a job briefing must be held with everyone involved before work is performed. Before starting the day, check to ensure that everything is set up correctly. Confirm all gates are functioning correctly and secured in the open position, and ensure the switches are working and are aligned to the appropriate track and locked. Also, make sure the blue flags and derailers are set on those tracks on which we will be working. Switches and gates are generally handled by WACO, our third-party train crew, unless directed by a supervisor. Blue flags are our responsibility. Blue flag protection is a vital aspect of rail yard safety. Blue flags are signals to train engineers and trackmobile operators that workers are on, under, or between rolling equipment. These signs are placed on both ends of the rail line that the workers are on and act as an equivalent to Waste Management's Hazard Energy Control Plan. The workers on that line are the only ones to install and remove their flags. It is essential to understand the difference in how the blue flag rule applies to each of the tracks. On tracks 1 through 4, no car movement will occur by a locomotive or trackmobile as long as the blue flags are placed at both ends of that particular rail. This rule is different on tracks 5 and 6. Where gondola cars are unloaded and moved by the action of the excavator on the bridge. In this case, blue flags only indicate to the engineer or the operator that the track is in use, but do not prevent moving cars. These tracks are considered live tracks, where all rail cars are in motion throughout the day, and where employees should use extreme caution when working in this area. On tracks 5 and 6, never go between rail cars unless you request a red zone, as will be discussed next. Requesting a red zone needs to be done through direct communication with the excavator operator after all movement has stopped. Also, these tracks are sloped at a 1.5 to 2 degree angle from west to east. Unless protected by a blue flag, ground personnel must never stand or walk between the rails of a track or get between or under rail cars for any reason, unless it's absolutely necessary to perform their duties. If this needs to happen, the ground personnel must communicate to the engineer or operator, request red zone. The engineer or operator must then respond, parking brake set, hands are off controls. Only then can the ground personnel proceed between or under a rail car. Ground personnel will communicate, red zone clear, when they are clear of the track or free from being between or under the rail cars. All movement is controlled and directed by ground personnel and only ground personnel. When directing a move by radio communication, the employee directing the move will give the locomotive engineer or trackmobile operator the direction of movement and approximate distance that is clear. The operator or engineer will repeat back to ensure clear communications. When the engineer or operator is 1/2 the distance to be covered, the engineer or operator will stop unless they are told to continue by the person directing the move. When approaching the stopping point, the person directing the move will begin counting down distances to the engineer or operator, such as 5 cars to go, 2 cars to go, 1 car to go, 50 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop, or contact, if coupling cars. Ground crews must stay clear of coupling cars. Once contact is made, ground personnel direct the engineer or operator to test the proper connection. Regardless of the distance spoken by the ground crew, the operator must be able to stop within half the distance should there be an emergency. While connecting or disconnecting cars and connecting or disconnecting air hoses, always keep 1 foot outside of the rail to allow easy escape in the event of sudden movement of the train. It is very important never to change the position of the coupler release or the position of our air cock. Equally important, never to disconnect the air hoses. In doing so, at the very least, this could cause up to an hour delay along the train's path or derail around a curve. When rail cars are parked without being attached to a locomotive or trackmobile, a minimum of 3 consecutive rail cars' brakes must be set. Similarly, at least 3 rail car brakes must be set if the gondolas are unattended. If you are assigned to work as a ground crew member on tracks 1 through 4, sometimes the ISO twist locks, mentioned earlier, get stuck in the connecting holes of the upper container. Never approach or get under a load raised by the top pick. Doing so will expose you to an extreme hazard should the top pick fail, dropping the container. Should an ISO twist lock get stuck in an upper container, have the top pick operator lower the container 12 to 18 inches from the ground. At this point, remove the lock. Trackmobile operators must inspect and verify that the trackmobile is safe for operation before moving it. This inspection includes ensuring adequate main reservoir pressure and brakes are operable. This is done by observing, applying, and releasing the brakes while the hand brakes are applied. It's important to give and receive the proper signal before moving. Operators must ring the bell or blow the whistle whenever starting a movement or when changing directions. Headlights must be on bright whenever going over highways or road crossings in the direction of travel and on dim the rest of the time. And never exceed the 5 mph speed limit while on the tracks within waste management property. And finally, back at the gondola bridge, where rail cars are emptied into side dump trucks, before a truck enters the loading area, the driver must receive a visual or verbal signal from the excavator operator or see that the bucket is resting in the gondola, indicating they can enter the loading area. The excavator bucket must never swing over the cab of a truck. All gondola movements that require the excavator to swing around to face west should be done without a truck in the loading position. If the excavator operator needs to move the rail cars before the truck is fully loaded, the operator will instruct the driver to swing around and get in line again, or to proceed to the landfill with only a partial load. Regardless of the condition they arrive at our facility, it is our responsibility to ensure no rail cars, locomotives, or containers leave the landfill or transfer site with broken or missing safety appliances. If a car is broken, we must notify WACO, not load the car, and release it from the site to shop for repairs. Should you have any further questions or concerns about your safety or the safety of others within the rail yard, please get in touch with your supervisor or manager. Thanks for your attention.